Thank you, Mr. President. Yesterday I had wanted to speak and just to follow up with the senator from James City County, but yesterday I felt like it was maybe not appropriate to speak after the senator from Franklin spoke. I was in awe of everything he had to say, so I chose not to speak yesterday, but would just like to follow it up. I know we've got a 2 o'clock meeting with the senator from Augusta, with his stand-up comedy with the Speaker of the House that we are all looking forward to, so I won't take up much time, but I know there's an issue, the issue of our police reform, and it's not going away. I think it's coming back. It's coming back with the House bills. It's coming back probably next session in January and February. So I think any time to speak about it is probably an appropriate time. I had a question one time in nursing school, and the question was about what's the appropriate way to treat a patient's pain. And I got the question wrong, because the answer to the question is the first thing you do when treating a patient's pain is to believe the patient. So I hear the pain that everyone speaks. I hear the pain from this side and from that side, and I sit back here right in the middle, number 40 of 40, happy to be here, taking it all in. Thinking of myself, well, gosh, I probably should have gone to law school. Some of these arguments would have made more sense. But we have a wonderful group who represents both sides very, very well. But, every career has room for improvement. I come from the world of healthcare, where we spend years doing evidence-based just research and coming up with evidence-based practices that we can implement patient care safely and most effectively. I also come from the world of aviation, where that world, especially naval aviation, is constantly changing on a daily basis just to make things better and safer. But in all of the worlds I come from, at least, the one thing that we do is we include people to the table, people have a seat at the table who are stakeholders in the room for improvement. I feel like we haven't done that so much with our law enforcement officers. And I say that, last session, January and February, we had Senate Bill 915. It was the senator from Western Fairfax's bill. It was the cosmetology bill with the licensing for the cosmetologists. And we had a group of 50 or so, beautiful people show up to the committee meeting for general laws. And I don't think any of us in this room are cosmetologists, so we all sat and we listened to these guys, and they told us, the pros and cons of their cosmetology licensing. And we listened, because none of us are cosmetologists. And we debated for, almost 2 hours that day, I think. And by the time we heard both sides of the debate, the bill was tabled, so the bill went away. It was not a good bill. Didn't speak favorably to their career field. But most importantly, we listened to them, and we listened to those people who live in that world. I did a lot of listening this past session, because I come from a very specific world, but there's so many things that I don't know about the state and how to run the state of Virginia. So I think it's a piece of kind of what I don't see happening right now. I don't see a lot of us listening. I will say last Friday on September 11th, I was called the night before September 11th by the mayor of Virginia Beach to show up at the jail at the sheriff's office on Friday on the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. And myself, I went, a couple of House delegates, our city council members, Sheriff Ken Stolley was there, the mayor, but we held kind of a spontaneous press conference. The sheriff down there, as you can probably figure out, is very concerned about his people and his men. So we went down there, and I listened to Ken Stolley talk, who's a wonderful man, great speaker, but he talked about how when he was in session here in the Senate, he was co-patron and patron of some bills that dealt with punishments for hate crimes, punishments for assault on teachers, and one of the bills that he worked on too was the assault bill for law enforcement officers and making all of those things felonies. But then he said to us, he's like, why do we make all of those things felonies, but now we have changed the one for law enforcement to a misdemeanor? It's not a felony. Why us? Why did you pick us out of all those groups? He's like, in 9/11, we were heroes. And he said, in Virginia Beach, even 18 months ago, we had the Virginia Beach shooting, and we were heroes. We couldn't buy a meal in this town. Everywhere we went, people bought our cup of coffee, people opened the doors. He's like, now we get refused service. So, and I stood in that room, and I looked at all those people in uniform, and as I looked at kind of the worry on their face, we met them, we talked to them, and they thanked me over and over. And I was not the person to thank. I came to work, I come to this nice job, I get good food, I sit here and have a lovely time. But those guys, when they go to work, that's not what they do. And for them to be thanking me, I just thought that it meant a lot, but it's not the right way. I should be thanking them. We should all be thanking them. A little over a week ago on my drive home on one of our later days, I got stuck in the Bay Bridge traffic, the tunnel traffic going back to Virginia Beach, and there was a lot of stop and go. And And I got rear-ended by a guy right outside of Hampton, but I was fine. Don't need a lawyer, thank you, I know. But the guy took off. It was a hit and run. Actually, he ran into my car. I know. But I was fine. But my minivan had a lovely dent, and so I pulled over off the next exit. And there was a maintenance crew there doing some other stuff, and they had called a state patrol for me. And this was the day that the House, the first day when they killed the qualified immunity bill. But the state trooper came after a couple hours of wait, a lot of traffic that day, and we chatted. We went through the police report and whatnot, and then I said, I just came from Richmond, and I just want to tell you thank you. I want to tell you what's happening. As soon as I introduced myself and said who I was, he knew all about it. I didn't have to really say anything else. And he again just stood and said, thank you. Thanks for fighting the fight for us. I said, we are, and I gave my card and Sen Kiggans' pen, and we were all good. But it was, I shouldn't be getting thanked by those people. I'm not the one doing the hard job. Those guys are the ones doing the hard job. So I just want to know, I feel everybody's pain. I'm a healthcare provider. Again, I believe the patient's pain, right? I believe all of our pains. I hear our frustrations in the room, but I just want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. There's a lot going on in our country right now. This is a country that I love. I think it's a country that is truly good at heart, and I think that people truly do want to do the right thing in most cases. But we need to make sure it's the right change. I hear us talk about change, and I support change. Again, that's how the world goes round. But it has to be the right change. It has to be for the right reasons, and it has to be for the right people. So let's not let our law enforcement down during this time. Let's think of them. I think of their faces that day when I saw them last Friday. So thank you for letting me speak on their behalf. Thanks, Mr. President.